Hello everyone, welcome to today's bookish video. I've just finished reading Norwegian Wood and Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. The topic of today is coming of age but make it tragic. I'm going to read a few lines from the book and dive right in. Reiko smiled too. You are a good person though. I can tell that much from looking at you. I can tell these things after 7 years of watching people come and go here. There are people who can open their hearts and people who can't. You're one of the ones who can. Or, more precisely, you can if you want to. What happens when people open their hearts? She was enjoying this. They get better, she said. The next line. How many Sundays, how many hundreds of Sundays like this lay ahead of me? Quiet, peaceful, and lonely, I said aloud to myself. On Sundays, I didn't mind my spring. Norwegian Wood was not the Tokyo coming-of-age story I assumed it was. The blurb made it seem like there was going to be a lot of drama hinted at a love triangle. I had my cup of tea ready to sip. It said that Watanabe was going for his best friend's girlfriend. That sounded so good. I'm toxic. Then I started reading and realized that this was not drama, but trauma. Quick trigger warning before I go any further, this book talks about suicide a lot. We find out that his best friend is actually dead. He had killed himself at 17 years old. And so the relationship that Watanabe and Naoko are forming now is after the death of the best friend. The bond that has linked Watanabe and Naoko is actually a clingy codependent type. Their relationship was built on the fact that they were the two left behind. They experienced a death at 17 years old. And the way they interact with the world is now warped due to it. You're the only one who understands me, and so I stick with you. That type of relationship. In some cases, it's fine to go through heartbreak with someone because it's comforting knowing that you are both on the same page. However, if it doesn't lead to healing and both parties are stuck in the past, more pain is sure to come, as we see in the story. With Watanabe and Naoko, the death actually left a huge scar on them. Depression, jadedness, and lack of commitment have become coping methods for them. And with Midori, the other female lead, we see the effects of long-term illness on a guardian/carer. What it means to look after someone who's physically sick and how consuming that can become. Midori is a very vivacious character, yet she lies constantly and she's very impulsive. She's also someone who struggles to be alone, which can be worrying because it means that anybody is fine to her. And so these main characters struggle to fit into society because of the trauma they have experienced. The word normal comes up a lot for discussion in this book, and who is normal and who is not normal. Your normal status depends on your lifestyle. People judge your behavior and put you into these categories. For example, people who aren't normal get bullied by the rest, and the most popular guy is worshipped even though he's a jerk with a lot of toxic behavior. And that's just how it is in the way society works. Without giving any more spoilers away, I want to share my thoughts on the sanatorium one of the characters visits. The facility is not your typical hospital, it's a special treatment center designed for self-healing. It gave me very much escape to the countryside vibes, where you are disconnected from the world, growing your own vegetables, learning new skills. It was just very wholesome. The fact that everyone's open and free and there's no judgment is absolutely amazing. However, being disconnected from the world and getting too comfortable can bring about the fear of rejoining society, because the world isn't as calm and peaceful as the treatment center. Also, the focus is self-healing. You have to get better on your own and win the battle within your mind. The sanatorium is simply just a guide. This book made me think about how important it is to have a safe space to go to when you're going through a tough time. A designated space where you can reset and gather yourself together. I know for many people, including me, it's not possible to just escape to the countryside so easily. But one thing I take away from this is the importance of fresh air and getting disconnected for a while. Solitude sometimes can help bring healing. The world is so busy that when you take time to cook for yourself, learn a new skill, or solo travel, you will have the space to dive into your problems without running away, which could lead to you understanding what's really going on with you. However, this only works if you're making the effort to make yourself better, because if you hide away without any intention, it's just isolation. And isolation leads to further struggles such as self-loathing and loneliness. For solitude to work, you need a set time period. If you stay too long inside of it, you might start to think it's easier than bothering with the world, but this might actually lead to regression. Moving on to the next book, Kafka on the Shore, I'm going to read a few lines from it. You're afraid of imagination, and even more afraid of dreams. Afraid of the responsibility that begins in dreams. But you have to sleep, and dreams are a part of sleep. When you're awake, you can suppress imagination, but you can't suppress dreams. I yank off my headphones and listen. Silence, I discovered, is something you can actually hear. Kafka is a 15-year-old runaway boy from Tokyo. His baggage is mostly due from the curse from his father and his abandonment issues from his mother leaving him at 4 years old. Regardless of the loneliness weighing him down, Kafka is determined to become the strongest 15-year-old boy in the world. On this mission to become that, he's got the boy named Crow by his side, hyping him up. On Kafka's journey, he meets people he believes can fill the hole in his heart. On the bus ride leaving Tokyo, he meets Sakura, a girl around the same age his sister could possibly be. Kafka's mum and sister left when he was 4, so he doesn't have any memories of what they actually look like, but he just has this tangible feeling of knowing that he had an older sister and a mum who's left him. And now he wonders maybe if this nice girl who's helping him out, Sakura, is his actual sister. Once Kafka arrives in this small town, he now needs to figure out a plan of what to do, how to stay hidden and out of sight. And his love of books leads him to a small private library. At this library, he meets Oshimaru Boy and Misaki, and yes, he thinks Misaki is his mother. Before I go on, I have to admit that while I was reading this book, there were points where I had no idea what was going on. The strangeness of the book was just getting to me, and I just thought it was best to not think too much about it and just accept it. So this book contains many mysteries and things that are happening that I left alone. I did not bother to try to unpick and try to understand in a relatable, realistic way, if that makes sense. This book is absolutely fascinating and absolutely strange. But basically the thing that I struggled with most was about the discussion of conscience and unconsciousness. Murakami has created this whole world that has to do with the dream state, and I understand from it that sometimes there's consequences from being in this dream state, that if you leave it, you will lose something while leaving it. But yeah, there's also then this discussion about responsibility. If we take responsibility for everything we imagine. The strangest thing about this book for me was Mr. Nakata, and I learned very quickly to just accept things. An incident happened in Mr. Nakata when he was younger, which made him dumb and made him able to speak with cats. Because of this, Mr. Nakata has therefore not been able to live a normal life. People looked down on him because he didn't have the normal communication abilities that people were expecting. Should I say they didn't bother to try to understand Mr. Nakata, when really Mr. Nakata has these strange powers. Even though he doesn't know how it works completely, he is someone who you can learn a lot from if you took the time, which Mr. Hoshino realized because he spent time with Mr. Nakata on this journey when they were escaping after Mr. Nakata had killed Johnny Walker. Yeah. Even with all the weird things about Mr. Nakata that I don't understand, he's still my favorite character in this book because he really taught me how to just let go and listen to life and go with the flow, you know? The next thing I want to talk about is identity and home, like a place of belonging. These characters are kind of misfits because they struggle with this. Kafka is unsure about himself and some of his behaviors scare him. After leaving Tokyo, he has nowhere to go and no destination in mind. Yet his curse and his obsession with knowing his mother and sister hold him down in a cage. Even though he escaped his father in Tokyo, the same problem he was dealing with there still followed him to this new place. Then we have Misaki, who disappeared for 20 years, then randomly just shows back up in her hometown. She comes across still as a very well put together woman, but inside of her there is a void. She's not present in life that's happening now. Misaki only has feelings of nostalgia for that summer when Kafka was on the shore. And Mr. Nakata has half a shadow. All his life since the incident, he has done what he's been told to do. He has never complained, he has never felt bored, and he's also never had any genuine desires. In a way, he seems like a very content person. However, it also makes me feel a bit sad because he has never been able to be fully alive. When I think of these characters, the word empty shell is what I'd use to describe them. They are either lost or stuck, and neither are ideal states to be in. Kafka on the Shore made me reflect on my own personal journey. I started to think about the things that I'm running away from, or the past that I'm stuck in still and unable to let go of. I learned from this book it's very important to deal with these things, because if you don't, you miss the opportunity to embrace life fully because you're either hiding or unavailable. Life isn't always going to be perfect. You're on a journey. Searching and figuring out yourself, your identity and your wants is all part of the process. Moving forward is a way to get better, and only when you stop making an effort is when you become an empty shell. And with that, we've come to the end of this bookish video. Murakami has a very versatile style. Norwegian Wood and Kafka on the Shore are outstanding. I had two very different stories to read, but they were both impactful. I was able to learn about the significance of relationship. Family, friends and lovers are a huge factor in how one interacts with the world. I highly recommend adding a Murakami book to your bookshelf. They are very worthwhile, interesting, absolutely engaging, fantastic, lovely. I know I have about another 3 more books from the author I want to read. I have linked my books down below. Let me know in the comments if you read them or if you have anything else to add to some of the points I've mentioned. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, comment, subscribe, ring in the notification bell so you know when I post. Bye!